Hello interwebs, welcome to a behind the scenes of the shop that's not at the shop. So I need to do this intro because I keep starting to record bits for a behind the scenes video and then not making the video. So this keeps happening. So what I'm doing now is I'm gathering together all the bits of video that I keep shooting, and I'm just going to try and smash it together into a compilation to try and get you guys up to speed. So yeah, because the annoying thing is there's been a lot of just incremental updates basically where I haven't done any big changes. I've just slowly been tweaking things. But at any rate, here's a panning of what the shop is looking like at the moment. So that sort of gives you a rough idea on where we're up to, because I genuinely can't remember what I haven't already shown off yet. So yeah. One of the things that I was going to put in was the soundproofing panels on the wall. Here's some footage of me putting up the soundproofing panels of what I have to hand anyway. These I acquired a while back from John the electrician who did the lights. He got these in for me, or rather he reclaimed them from another house where they were being removed and said, "Hey, do you want these?" And I was like, "Hell yeah." And thankfully, there's enough of them that I've actually managed to panel up all the walls. And you guys have seen these in the past many videos and podcasts now, so they're not new. But at any rate, yeah, these went up quite easily. The first couple I put up by putting some 3M command strips on the back of them, but this was really inefficient. The 3M command strips do work, but they don't hold them up very well. Like if I fell against the wall and rubbed it up against the wall, they'll come off. And yeah, it's not very convincing, and it wasn't very efficient. Because these walls are pretty rough anyway, and, it's mainly just bare brick painted, I'm not too worried about doing damage to the walls. So in the end, I just got some spray adhesive or contact adhesive. And as you can see, I'm just spraying these and just placing them on the wall. And yeah, I'm aware that these ones came out slightly crooked as well, but that's fine. I think they look nice, and they're doing a fantastic job of soundproofing the studio. And this is good because it just means that I can go back to using the condenser mic in videos. Because I was talking about this on the podcast like the week before last, I think, where the lapel mics that I've been using, they do work and they are effective in an echoey room, but they just don't sound as nice as a condenser microphone does. They don't. They will pick up my voice, but they won't pick up desk sounds, and sometimes that's good because you don't hear the noise of the hot air station or something like that. But then on the other hand, it's also bad because it just means that when I'm on fast forwarding sections, it's very dead air. There's no clink and sound and the noises of me working on it, which just fill that empty space. So I wanted to go back to a condenser microphone that has much less aggressive background noise reduction for that reason. So I'm happy now that we're on the condenser mic again. I've also, as of this week, got a floor stand for that mic, so it's no longer clamped to the desk. So while it can hear desk noises, you won't get those big old bangs every time I lay something down on the desk or something like that, which is good. So that's that. And as again you saw from the pan, which I'll throw up again now, I've got posters up on the walls now, and I've got computers out on display. I'm now swapping these computers out for actual gaming rigs, like the ones that we built on the podcast again the other week. And there's actually going to be for sale signs and all the rest of it. So that's now moving in a direction where I've actually got stuff out that's actually on sale and not just display pieces that I don't want to sell. So the next thing coming up as well is I'm going to actually get some foliage in the shop. I'm going to get some nice plants, some indoor plants, hopefully something nice, some floor standing stuff that's nice and big as well, to add some greenery and actually liven the place up a bit, make it feel a bit more homely. And the other thing that I want to challenge is getting a sofa in there. I want to get a sofa in the shop. That wasn't part of the main original plan, but it was one of the ideas. And it's an idea that I definitely want to implement, because I want to make this shop a place where people can actually hang out as well. Not necessarily all the time, well, potentially. And A friend of mine who I used to work for, I was talking to him about this on Saturday, and he said you should get a coffee machine in here. Just get a service machine, and sell coffees. And like, I didn't want to do that because this isn't an internet cafe. That's not part of the plan. I want it to be a space where people can come in and sit down with their laptop to check their email and stuff like that. But I'm not providing a food and drink service. That's not what I want to be doing. But on the other hand, just having a coffee machine, like not even an espresso, like a fully automated one, like the kind of thing you'd have at a petrol station where, you stick the cup under there and you push the button kind of thing. Something along those lines. It's not a terrible idea, and they make money, So, yeah, as I say, I'm not dead set on that yet, but it's a thought. I might go in that direction. So, yeah, especially if I do actually manage to start making progress into the boutique computer custom PC sales thing, because my brother-in-law works at a professional mountain bike shop. Like they build competition mountain bikes and stuff, competition road bikes, and they have a coffee machine in there because he sits and has a coffee with his clients while he discusses about what kind of 20 or 30,000 pound bicycle they're going to purchase and stuff like that. Now, granted, I'm not selling 20,000 pound computers, but you get the idea. The idea is that I can potentially have a coffee with someone while we talk about what they want or something like that. I don't know. These are just ideas. So that's that. So that's directions that the shop could be going in. At the very least, I also want a sofa in there because I want to be able to invite friends and family around to that shop to hang out, because my flat here where we are at the moment is very, very small, and I currently have no plans and no strategy for when or how I will move to a bigger place. So it's kind of awkward to invite friends and family over to visit because there's no space in this flat. So I'm like, it's a lot easier to stick a sofa in my shop where I've got a nice big space to invite people over to. And like, I can have my friends come over and have gaming evenings, and people can bring over their VR headsets and stuff like that. These are more things that I can do with the space that I'm paying for. And yeah, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, that's that. That's where we're at the moment. That's the directions that I'm looking to move toward. So I want to sort out the sofa, I want to sort out some plants, and actually start decorating in the new shop as well. That'll probably be the next step, is decoration. So that's that. Now, in the meantime, for this video, I figure I should tell you guys the story about what's happened to the old shop, because that turned into a big heckin' fiasco right at the end of July. Yeah, what I'll do, I'll hand you over to the bit of video that I recorded there, and let's follow what happened to the old shop, because I still had it. And last month was the end of my notice period, where I needed to hand the key back to it. Hello interwebs, welcome to the first behind the scenes I've done in a while. I've been just really busy with, well, the shop basically. Not a huge amount, there's been lots of small incremental changes. However, we're coming up to another big shift, so it's time to get this video done. So this is the old shop as it currently stands, and I'm pulling overtime probably all this week and probably all next week because I need to be out of this place in 2 weeks. That might not sound like a very long time, however there's a problem, is I've got to hand this place back in a satisfactory condition. It's pretty standard issue that you've got to, throw a coat of paint on the walls and stuff like that. But the fact remains is that when I moved in here 10 years ago, I didn't think I was going to be in here for 10 years. And 10 year ago me didn't realise what 10 years of wear and tear on a building looks like. And unfortunately, in here it's stuff like this with the peeling paint on the ceiling. And it's the fact that, the walls will need to be repainted, no big deal, but the landlord also wants, these windows, which are a security death trap, he wants those openable. And I'm like, I don't think you do, but fine. So I guess I'll put a non-insurable lock on those like he wants. No sarcasm intended, right? I've got some big old stuff that needs to move still. Don't ask why I have a spare gearbox for my car, but I do. Then if we go outside, this needs repainting. This needs repainting. And the landlord wants the roof to be demossed. He wants the gutters to be cleared. He wants this to be sorted. That moves. And it's like, oh man, I got 2 weeks to do this. Now, I have only myself to blame because I handed in my notice nearly 3 months ago. So it's not like I should not have seen this coming, but I didn't realise the scope of how much left there was to do until now. So this is a problem of my own creation, but this is where I live now. So yeah, that's it. So we're down to this much. Everything you can see in the room now, this is everything that's left. The kitchen is empty, the cupboards are empty, the bathroom is empty, the attic is empty. I've torn down all the network cables, I've torn down all of my LED lights. There's the LED strips, remember those? You know, I'll find a use for those somewhere, I'm sure. Yeah, now I've got to just get all of this out, and it's nightmarish because I have to just put it all in the new shop. And that's the opposite of what I wanted. I didn't want to move all of my junk from the old shop to the new shop, but I'm out of time. Tonight, this room has to be empty because I have to repaint and I'm running out of time. Anyway, enough blab. I'm going to load up the car, move back to the and do another run to the old shop again. From the car into the new shop. Now I have my spare rims in here. Anyone want to buy some rims? I'm not even joking, they need to go. And all the boxes of junk are now entering the shop. All of this, all of this, all of that. It's all horrifying and it's all got to go. And what of it isn't out there, I've still got all of this back here in the spare room as well. This hasn't, well, a lot of this has come from the old shop. Not all of it is junk, but there's a lot of junk here. So yeah, not very happy at the moment. And of course, right now, I'm also in the mindset of I really need to get that 100,000 subscriber video done. Like, that's got to get done. But I don't want to make it while all of this stuff is in the shop. It's the last thing I want to do. So it's all got to get sorted out as well. Woe is me. Okay, anyway, let's get on with it. Let's keep going. Once this is done, tidy this aside, and then we can actually start thinking about doing 100k subscriber special stuff. Oh, all right. Back out to the car.
So what actually needed doing in terms of decorating the shop? Because as you may have noticed in that video, I was stressed out of my brain because what had happened was when I handed in my notice, I was handed a letter. That was a letter that basically confirmed the notice period and also what the landlord expected of me when giving the shop back. Now, what I thought was going to be in that letter was going to be words to the effect of, please paint the walls and empty the shop, which is what I was expecting. And on a commercial lease, it's completely standard issue that you need to redecorate when you leave. It's pretty standard issue on a non-commercial lease, on a residential lease as well. However, a lot of people don't bother and will just say, oh, and will just sacrifice their security deposit for it. And that, again, was something that occurred to me. You know, I was half expecting to actually get to the point where I'd open that letter and then be like, just keep the security deposit, mate, you know, and walk away. That's kind of what I thought I was going to do. And I sat on the letter. Now, this was entirely my fault. Don't get me wrong. I cocked up big time. I screwed up big time in not reading that letter. So when I did read the letter, here's what it said. It said, repair the property, including fixing the hole in the roof above the loft hatch, investigating and fixing the cause of the water stain in the storeroom ceiling, check the roof for any other leaks, replace any missing slates, clean the moss off the roof, clean out the gutters, repair the broken gutter bracket, remove the screws from the windows, ease and adjust the windows, replace the carpet, but see below, the carpet does not need to be replaced, so you can leave it in place. Decorate, including the front and back doors, the inside, the windows inside and outside, the internal walls, the ceiling, and the woodwork. That's all the red woodwork. There's a lot of it, and it's all varnished wood.
repair and decorate the external cladding. That's all the wood on the outside that I mentioned. Please confirm that you carry the above before the 5th of August. So I saw this list and the bottom of my stomach dropped out, basically, because this is borderline renovate my building for me. And I was stuck halfway between being horrified and furious. Now, the problem is, a lot of people, when I mentioned this to them, were just like, sort of, oh yeah, well, what does your lease say? And that occurred to me as well, because I was under the I always thought that I was responsible for everything inside the walls, and everything outside wasn't my problem because it's not my building. I rent the place. So, you know, when I saw all of this like building restoration, like the roof, the outside of the walls and stuff like that, I'm like, what the hell? This isn't my responsibility. But unfortunately, accompanying this letter was also an excerpt from the lease that noted that I was responsible for maintaining the condition of the building. And I signed that lease. Now, as I mentioned in the bit of video, you know, when I did sign that lease, it was the first serious lease I'd ever signed, and I did read it. However, I had not considered that I would be in this building for 10 years, and I'd not considered what 10 years of wear and tear on that building would look like. So clearly, when I read that lease and read the bit that said maintain the building, to me, that meant, you know, if a window gets broken, you replace it, or something like that. You know, it hadn't occurred to me that it would be a case of prevent the building from falling down kind of thing, you know. But the problem is that we were now at the point where I had to be out of the building within less than 2 weeks. So it was a case of, there's not a doubt in my mind that if I'd actually gotten legal with this and challenged this, I probably could have gotten out of doing a great deal of this. But the problem is that I'd sat on this letter for the best part of 2.5 months and not done anything. The time to challenge this had been and gone 2 months ago. So it was entirely my fault that this had come to pass, and I realised now that there was no time left to deal with it. And we also have to bear in mind that the landlord owns a solicitor's company. Not the kind of guy you want to mess about with, kind of thing. So the long and the short of it is, I was on the hook for all of this. Now, when it came down to it, a lot of stuff I managed to go halfway with. We did do a lot of decorating, and I'll show you that footage in a minute. I took a little bit of footage along the ways. A lot of the worst of it, like the roof stuff, I was just like, I can't deal with that roof. There's no time for me to find a roofer and get them in, and I can't do it myself. However, thankfully, the landlord had already gotten quotes for this, knowing that I probably wouldn't be able to do a lot of it. And the quote he had gotten to get the roof done was actually incredibly reasonable. So about half of this stuff in terms of the roofing things, I just said, I'll just pay my way out of that. And it didn't cost me a huge amount of money. It was a lot cheaper than I thought it would be. So I was able to just pay the roofer to get that done. Then other stuff, you know, like the gutters and the painting and things like that, we managed to do. And I'll show you some of the video. I've got to give a big shout out to a couple of my close friends. I won't mention them by name just in case they don't want to be mentioned. But a couple of very good friends of mine stepped up, and without their help, I would not have gotten this done. I would have been in big trouble. So massive shout out. They know who they are. They saved my bacon. So we got through it all. Let's see how that went. Right, that's that done. A couple of bits remain, but there are some bits like the table can stay there just because, you know, useful when painting, and like the wood and that box of junk. That will be going straight to the tip, so that will get loaded up specifically when I do the tip run. So yeah, that's that done. Good. All right. I feel a bit better now this room is empty. The last mile was harder than it looks in here. I thought this room was empty like 2 months ago. I had no idea how far off it was, but it doesn't matter. We're there now. Right, that's me done in here for tonight. Time to go back to the shop and do overtime. Day whatever. And we're painting the inside of the windows. Wood painting is the worst thing ever. I hate it. I've had to do all this prep, I've had to mask up all the things. Now I can begin painting. Actually, can I? Yes, I can, that's fine. There's not enough dust there for me to care. Whew. And I've made a mess already. Wonderful. As you can see, I'm a professional DIYer. However, if you do the prep, you can get away with being messy. That's the idea. This will take a couple of coats. And the next one will go on tomorrow evening when I finish in the shop. Decorating still underway. This is day whatever. We're winning. We're winning a lot. However, I've just finished doing the exterior with an hour to spare before this came in. That's a lot of rain. I hope that Ronsil one coat is as good as it says on the tin. Because it needs to be right now, otherwise all this paint is going to wash off. I've just completed on the old shop. Cars. I wanted to get some footage of the empty shop and just be like sort of, oh look, you know, here's the empty shop, this is what it looks like when it's empty, etc, etc. But it just wasn't to be because of timing and stuff like that. Met the landlord there, handed him the keys. We agreed that the place was in satisfactory condition and that all debts are settled, and that's it, we're done. And to be honest, I'll take that at face value. So, walking back to the new shop now, and that is done. I have finished the queue, the repair queue in the shop, minus one or two things which are of low priority. And so now today is mainly just going to be a tidying day in the shop. There's just more piles of stuff, like all of the decorating stuff came out of the shop last night, and I just piled that up in places, so now I've got to get rid of that as well. However, the worst is over. The old shop is gone. Wish I could have given it a bit of a nicer goodbye, but the circumstances just weren't in my favour. So yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, back to the voiceover. And so that was that, basically. It was all a bit mad, it was all a bit hectic, but we got there in the end, and then I swanned off on holiday for a week with my family, and it was lovely. And I had a nice week of decompression, and now the past 2 weeks I've been back to the grindstone. So having cleared the repair queue, I'm in a much better space now. So the next thing that I will be doing is I will be clearing all of that junk out the way, and I'm just going to shoot the 100,000 subscribers special come hell or high water. I wanted to wait until the shop was done or, you know, ready before doing that. However, I think at this point I should just throw that video out there, get it done, because, you know, then I can put that behind me. So yeah, that's what will be happening next. I'm going to try and make a point of not leaving it so long before there's another update video. It's just harder to make them now because all of the big stuff is done. So yeah, that's that. Anyway, I've waffled long enough. Thank you all for coming along for this video as well. I'll try and give you guys more stuff when it's around. However, as I say, because everything is now moving along in little increments, it's a lot harder to make videos about me doing stuff. So yeah, that's that. Anyway, that's all. Thanks everyone. I will be back with more content soon, TM. See you all soon. Bye.